I'm Chris Swick. I'm from Guelph, Ontario, Canada, and I'm happy to be on this show.
Awesome. Can you just tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Yeah, so my childhood growing up, I have two younger siblings, brothers named Matt and Shane, and parents that grew up together. They're still married to this day. Childhood was amazing, man. Like I couldn't have asked for a better childhood, to be honest. I grew up playing hockey, baseball, lacrosse, swimming, lots of different things around. Lots of families do go on little vacations. We went to Disney World, went on many other different vacations and stuff, camping, lots of outdoorsy things. So we're a really outdoorsy family for the most part. And it was a great childhood. Like I honestly couldn't complain in that sense. It was into my early teens, or just before my early teens, is when things sort of took a turn for the worst. And I'd say.
What were your dreams as a child?
My dreams as a child was to be a professional hockey player, but partying, drugs, and all those types of things took over, in my teens. So those dreams went out the window pretty quick, because those things were more important instead of focusing on the dreams that I had.
Can you tell me about your relationship with your dad and how that relationship felt?
My relationship with my dad, it was up and down, and it still is to this day. We, like my mom says, we're both we're two of the same sort of thing. We're both bold-headed, we're very stubborn, and and that's why we don't see eye to eye. We clash a lot because what his way is the right way, and what my way is the right way, and that's where we clash a lot. So we don't see eye to eye all the time. So we do have arguments still to this day.
How does that relationship feel?
It feels good. I'm grateful to have him still in my life. Like, he does love me a lot. He loves his grandkids. I have two children as well. So he does love his grandkids a lot, and he has a lot of passion for life as well. Like, he's a very hardworking man, and that's where I think I get my hard work ethic from at times, but sometimes I can be lazy still. So
yeah. What about your relationship with your mom?
That one, she was more of the enabler, I guess, because back in my days of addiction and stuff like that, if I wanted money, I would find a way to get money or whatever, or I'd manipulate her to get money out of her to get the drugs and the booze and stuff like that. So in a way, like, we had a very codependent relationship in that sense.
How did that feel, being in a codependent relationship? Like, what were the emotions that you felt during that?
Well, like, I would manipulate her to get my way, or something, or I'd say I need that money for something else, but really it was just going to drugs and stuff like that, and she would just keep giving it to me. But there was a point to no return, and she said one day, I'm not giving you any more money for anything, really, like, unless it's needed, unless it's for a prescription or something that I actually need and stuff like that. But it felt good in a sense because I was getting what I wanted at the time, but when I came clean and got clean and stuff like that, I realized, that I was just using her for her money in a sense. So, but now today we have a great relationship. She'll message me every morning just saying she loves me and how proud of me she is and stuff like that. So it makes me feel good in that sense. So we have a great relationship though, still to this day though.
What would you say you learned from both your parents?
Hard work, like instilling hard work, like you have to work for what you get. You can't things just aren't handed to you on a silver platter.
Can you tell me about your first love?
My first love, I thought I was in love, when I got, had my son and stuff like that, and we got, engaged. I thought that was the one until down the road she had left me for another man. So that was really heartbreaking, and I was clean at that time until she left me, and then it literally went on a downward spiral for almost another 10 years after that.
Wow. How was that spiral?
It was literally out of control from the day that she left when I came home from work that day. and I'd noticed like, things just weren't in place through the day. I just had a gut feeling. And when I went home that day, everything was gone that, that I had worked hard for basically, like, and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it wasn't my fault, because there was lots of it was my fault. It takes two to tango. But that feeling of heartbreak was there from the get-go. And that spiral literally spiraled out of control for years after. Like, I got arrested for threatening to kill her down the road. And so I ended up in jail because of that. But that was because of my actions, and my anger took over at that point.
Can you tell me about your first heartbreak or loss?
It would have had to have been like my very first heartbreak would have been my best friend. I have a tattoo on my arm in memory of him, but he was wrapped up in the world of addiction and that as well. And he just literally, he jumped to his death from the 12th story of an apartment building to the ground below. And, that was very hard, man. It still is hard every April when that date comes up. It pulls some strings for sure for me.
How do you honor him?
Well, I have a tattoo on my arm, and that's how I honor him. And I do try to make it to his gravesite like every year on that day, just to, talk with him and be there with him. And it sucks because he did leave two kids behind. One's an adult now, and one's my son's age, 13. So,
can you tell us who first taught you love, and how did they teach you that love?
I would have to say it would be my parents, and maybe even my grandmother, my mom's mom. Just showing affection and showing that they cared. Even though I did all these bad things per se growing up and through my teens and my 20s and stuff like that, my parents still showed me unconditional love and showed me support and were always there for me.
What's love to you now compared to what it was to you as a kid, and how do those two different loves feel?
Well, love as a kid was more like, showing the affection, giving us attention, but sometimes I would go seek that attention in a bad way. And then really at the end of the day, you're not getting that love in return when you're seeking attention in the wrong ways. And today, love to me is having someone that has your back, cares about you. And I have a loving girlfriend. I have a loving family. My kids care about me dearly. My son tells me how proud, he is of me and what I'm becoming now, and the leaps and bounds I've made in the last year even.
Awesome. Can you tell me about a general good day for Chris? Just what a good day is like.
A good day, when I wake up and I'm clean and sober, or I lay my head down clean and sober, that's a great day to me, and then everything else that comes with it is a bonus.
How does that feel?
It feels amazing, man, to be honest. It feels absolutely amazing. Like, you can go to bed clean and wake up clean. And we don't all have hunky-dory days and great days because, life isn't, perfect in any means for sure, like we've talked about. I do have my bad days. Everyone does. It's just a matter of how you handle those bad days or those bad moments and stuff like that. And to this day, I still have, issues with my anger. I still have things I'm getting over and stuff like that. So it's a work in progress every day.
Now, the opposite of that, can you tell me about a bad day and the things you do to push through that bad day?
A bad day would, if me and my girlfriend have gotten into an argument or whatever, it's not even a bad day. It's a matter of how I take that, moment or that, initial problem that we're going through and how we solve it together, or how I come back at it. I can't be angry at everything. And sometimes I still do get angry or defensive and stuff like that. So like I said, it's still a work in progress for me in that sense, but I try to stay calm, cool and collective. And it's not always the case, though, I'll be honest.
Yeah, like we said, we're not perfect,
Yeah.
Can you tell me a person or an event, it can be good or bad, that's really helped shaped you? And how does it feel when you reflect on that person or event?
A person or event, well, one person that's really helped shape me over the last while, I'll have to give a huge shout out to my girlfriend Megan. Like, she's really helped shape me into the person I am today. You know, she's pushed me through these bad times into the good times and stuff like that too. Just pushed me to be the person I am today. You know, like without her, I don't think I'd be where I am. You know, with all the support and help that she's actually been is amazing. And one other huge part of it is the program of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, that's really helped me, you know, surrounding myself with people I want to be like-minded individuals like you and, you know, the sponsor of my podcast, Compass Nine Media, Brandon and Tyson, you know, they've helped me immensely as well.
Awesome. You've helped me as well. I'm right there with you. What would you say has inspired you?
What really inspired me to do this podcast in general, or would have had, yeah.
What would be what you would take as one of your big inspirations just in life?
I would have to honestly say my kids. I live for them on a daily basis. I live for other people too, but like life wouldn't be the same if they weren't in my life today. Like, to be honest, like if I was out there using and abusing drugs and alcohol and whatever else and not getting the help or putting the work in to get the help that I needed to be where I am today in this moment, you know, it wouldn't be the same without them because I wouldn't have them in my life. So I'd probably be leading down a destructive path still. Like, but it was time to put my big boy pants on and be a father to them, you know, like live in the present moment and be in their lives. Like I was in their life, like I've shared other times. I wasn't there mentally though. I was physically there, but not mentally and being present in their lives. You know, today I can honestly say I am.
What would you say has been a humbling experience for you, and how did that experience feel?
The most humbling experience I would have to honestly say was when I couldn't see my kids from last November when I got clean again. And I didn't see my daughter, like have her for a full weekend. You know, it would have been sooner, but because of the pandemic and everything going on and me having to get a clean drug test to prove that I had nothing in my system, you know, I had to have a couple consistent ones. So that was probably one of the most humbling experiences because I got to be able to work on myself over those few months. You know, and it was decided between the mothers and the kids, you know, and myself that it was best for me to work on myself and do that before I could have them back in my life, you know, and I had to prove myself again, sort of thing. So I must say that was a pretty humbling experience in a sense.
Awesome. Now go in your mind and think. This life event can be mental, physical, or spiritual. Tell me about a time in your life that you can relate with the word war.
Well, I can relate with the word war right now with just everything going on in the world. Like mentally and physically, it's draining, like watching everything go on, whether it's the epidemic with the fentanyl crisis, you know, watching these people that, you know, they're not hopeless by any means, but just watching the homeless walk around like walking zombies around, especially the city I live in and stuff like that. It's very sad, but so it's like it's a war on everything right now with everything from the racism going on, you know, in the US and Canada, all over the world. Like, it's a, you know, it's saddening to see, but you know, I'd like it to, this too shall pass.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that on a day to day?
I try not to focus on the negative if at all possible. You know, the odd time it'll pop up on the news feed or whatever if you're watching the news and stuff like that. But I try and focus on the positive that's going on, the positive changes people are making in my community I live in, and the things I can do to help out, like that I do my podcast or like you do and stuff like that. So that's how I try to look at it. Look at the positive thing, who I can help out with what I do.
So the same type of question, go in your mind and think. This life event can be mental, physical, or spiritual. Tell me about a time that you can relate to the word peace.
Uh, definitely have to just having my own sense of peace of mind that I did it on my own, and I got clean on my own for me. So that brings me a sense of peace.
Can you tell me about a truly difficult time in your life, how it felt, and the things you did to get through it?
The most difficult time in my life would honestly have to be, when I was molested by a family friend at 10 years old. And it was very difficult for me. And he was the same age, it was a male, and did things that I didn't want him to do, or, I didn't know right from wrong at the time because I was around 10 years old. But what I did to get through those times were literally I used drugs and alcohol from a short period of time after that till last year, really, like over 20, almost 25 years of my life. Like, I wouldn't say it was wasted away you doing that stuff. Like, I think I could have put myself to better use through all those years, but I chose to go that route and I had gotten clean a couple other times, or had tried to, but I would never touch on this issue. That was the main issue that started my life of abuse of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So that's what brought me down that road. But, once I finally came out to my girlfriend and my brother last year, it just felt like a weight lifted off my shoulder then, and I'm able to talk about it openly now. So,
Can you describe that moment and that feeling when you were actually talking to your loved ones and letting them actually telling them, what happened and then the feeling after?
uh, well, I had like told my brother, I want to sit down and tell you guys something. It was just my brother and my girlfriend at the time. And I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of mixed emotions going through, and I did break down a little bit, but after I let that out, it just felt amazing. Like, honestly, it felt like I said, 1,000 pounds of bricks was lifted off my shoulders, my chest, and I was finally free from that past wreckage in a sense. I've forgiven the person that did it. I don't talk to them anymore. I haven't seen them since those times, and I don't care to. If I ever to run into them on the street, yeah, I forgive them. I'd say hi, but and it is what it is at the end of the day. That has happened, but in order for me to heal and move on, I have to be able to forgive that person too. So,
And I know forgiveness is it's concrete, but it's really abstract. And it's such a dynamic process, I feel like. And what are some of the things that let you know that you've actually are in the process of forgiving or have forgiven someone? Because we all know it's much more than saying I forgive you. It's like also a feeling connected to it.
yeah, so like the process of like forgiving someone, you know, it isn't easy, but in order to move past your past wreckage or things you've done, you have to make amends, and sometimes those people that you have to make amends to don't want to talk to you, ever again, and that's fine. Sometimes you just have to write it out, and there's different ways to make amends and forgive and stuff like that, but you have to also put your words into action and be living proof of it as well. Forgiving doesn't mean just saying sorry, like you said, and I'm notorious for it, and I still am sometimes, saying sorry and stuff like that. But I also got to prove my actions. Words. You got to put those words into action, is what I mean. So,
And would you say that I've had to go on my own forgiveness journey of forgiving others and then being able to forgive myself. Um, would you say, I mean, I know for me personally, I know I didn't really know I had forgiven someone until it was like that weight off my shoulder, that elation, that there was a cathartic feeling with just letting it go and not holding on to it. And I used to use the people that I would blame for my actions. I definitely use it as an excuse for my entire lifestyle up into my, early 30s. And you know, that feeling where like there's a piece to it, right?
Yeah. No, so I would I would blame others for the longest time. Nothing was ever Chris's fault. Like it was always someone else's fault, or if someone got mad at me, that gave me an excuse to go out and use, or excuse to, well, it didn't really. It was my excuse to go steal from so and so, or do this to justify why I'm doing it. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own actions.
And now since you take that responsibility, how does that empowerment now feel?
It feels amazing just to, you know, be responsible for your actions, for your words, you have to be, and especially in my line of work too, you have to be responsible and, listen to other people and stuff like that. And like I said, another work in progress for me is listening. I've been learning that a lot, especially with my profession as a car salesman now. You have to listen to the customer, listen to their wants and needs, and not just yap, yap, yap. So, listening's key, I find.
Can you tell me how have you been? How has the COVID experience affected you?
Actually, it's been a really good experience, actually, like, in a sense, because this is how I created my podcast and my platform for others to share their stories on as well, was because of COVID. Like I had plans to start a podcast, but it wasn't going to be as soon as I did it. When I did after COVID had hit up here and everything got shut down, I was like, well, there's no better time than now to start this, process and start this platform to share other stories. And I just think it's great listening to other stories and seeing what they've gone through, and it helps others. So it's a blessing in disguise in a sense up here. Yeah, it sucked in a sense, being locked up in an apartment where I'm a very extroverted person, and I don't have to have contact, but I just love talking with people. So
Can you tell me about a truly joyous moment in your life and how that felt?
the truly joyous moment would have to be, me getting clean for me this time around was a truly joyous moment, and it's been a huge accomplishment of mine, like, and to get this far again, I'm almost a year clean again. So I am really joyous about that. And then and finding someone that loves me for me, even with all my quirks and my past and stuff like that. Like my girlfriend loves me for the person that I am, though. Even though I can be an asshole some days.
What keeps you up at night?
Just what keeps me up at night. Just worried about the people that are left out there that, can't fend for themselves and stuff like that. Like I worry about some of the people when I pass them on the street. I worry about those people sometimes. I know I can't because they've made the choice to put themselves in that position in a sense, but I can still worry about them. When I see them walking by, or if they ask me for a cigarette or say hi, I don't have a problem doing that down here and stuff like that. So
Imagine you're in the hospital today with only hours to live. What would be your regrets, if any?
if I was in the hospital today with only hours to live, I would definitely have regretted not asking Megan to marry me. And being able to just do a few trips with my kids that I've wanted to do, and obviously we can't do lots of things right now other than within your own country for now, but those types of things and stuff like that.
So you're alive and well, you're going to make it. Do you feel that you can change or make amends with any of those regrets you just mentioned?
Oh yes, I could. If I'm alive and well today, I would definitely be able to change some of those for sure.
You told me what your dreams were as a kid. What are your dreams now?
Just my dreams now are just to see the world in a different light. Like I just want to see more positivity out there. There's lots. I'd like to see more people being positive and not so many people being negative. Especially on the social media or people with big egos and stuff, bring your ego down and come down to earth. But, and other changes, like in a positive way, like if I can help one person with each episode of my podcast, then I think I've done a great job, and it's not all about the numbers and stuff like that. I see people are listening to it, and it'll just grow from here, sort of thing. So I just want to see more positivity and less negativity.
You're the author of your life, but what's your picture perfect ending?
I'm the author of my life story, and what's the picture perfect ending? Huh. Me and Megan living on an island in Bali.
How would that feel with you on the island in Maui?
It'd feel amazing just with the ocean surrounding us.